Navigating Cognos and running a report. Open up Google Chrome and type in insight.illinoisstate.edu. Click on the central login button and enter your credentials. What you are seeing is the recent page. The recent page is the first page you'll see when you log into Cognos. As a new user, you may not see any reports on your page. It'll be completely blank until you've run a report. What we are seeing is a recent page in its default view, which each of these is a report on what we call a tile. You can also click on this icon here and see Cognos recent page in list view. And you can also click on settings, click on compact, and it will compact all of the reports that you see on this page so you can do less scrolling. This icon here allows you to sort the data alphabetically, ascending or descending. Now, why are these reports displayed on this page? Well, this page is designed to show the 20 most recent reports you've run in Cognos. So you can see this is the last report that I ran in Cognos. This is the second to last report I ran in Cognos. The idea is that the most commonly used reports you'll run over and over again, and they're conveniently located here on the first page you see in Cognos. To run a report, you can just click on the name of the report and it'll run it in HTML mode. I want to point out, though, that if you know that you're going to run this report and export it to Excel, the best thing to do is to click it and choose the Run As option. The Run As option here will allow then you to choose many different formats, such as these Excel formats, in order to run your report. You have that option, the Run As option, in a lot of different places. Not only is it here when I click on the name of the report, but it's also available here on these three dots, which are called the action menu. Run As is here. There is some additional functionality up here at the top of the screen when you have an item selected. Most of the time, there's no need to use them, but you can explore them if you would like. Now, I'd like to talk about each of the items at the top on what we call the application bar. They may change where we add some or some are hidden based on what's on the main screen. This here, the hamburger icon, which is also called the open menu, if you click on it, it gives you some options of what you can do on the left. Here, this home page will take you back to the recent page. The recent page is also called the home page. It's also called the welcome page. You won't be using the new or upload data. Those are for developers. The content folder takes you to the page where we have our reports organized, just like we do in Windows Explorer. Recent gives you the same data that you're seeing on the recent page, just in this list format. And manage is for administrators, and so you won't use it. So really the only relevant two items in this dropdown is content and home. If I click on home, you see it takes me back to the recent page. Here, Cognos Illinois State University can also take you back to the recent page. If you're not there, you click on it, it will go to the recent page. And then if I scroll down to the right, there's a search content. This allows you to search for a report by name. So if I type in a name of a report, once I start typing, it will give me suggestions, and I can go ahead and stop typing, select the suggestion, or I can just keep on typing exactly what I want and press enter. Now, there's a limitation on this search option. So the search option will only show you up to 50 items. So if you put in an item like student, which is a name in a lot of our reports, folders and other things, you can see it shows only the first 50 items. That means your search is not complete and your item may or may not be in this list. So keep that in mind. The more specific you can be when you enter your search option, the better you are at being able to find the item you're looking for. This is to be used for finding a report based on the report name. It also can work by column name, but so many of our column names are used in multiple reports. It goes up against this over 50 items barrier, so it's not really useful. So just think about this as a way to find a report name. Over here is a notification icon. We don't use it, so I'm not going to discuss it. And over here is a personal menu icon. If I click that, you can see that I'm logged in, and the only other item that is of interest for you is this My Schedules and Subscription option, whereas if you have scheduled a report to be emailed to you at a certain place and time, this is the place that you would manage that subscription. We'll talk more about this later. And now you can see here, this shows up, and it wasn't there before. It's showing up now because we have this page open, not the recent page. And if I have another page open, that would also show up here as another item that I can select so that I can toggle back and forth between pages. But remember, I can also go to the recent page by just clicking here on the Cognos Illinois State University link, and it takes me back to the recent page. So now you have an idea of what you can do on the application bar and this home menu. Let's go to the content folder and explore that next. So if I click on content and I go to the content page, I have two options, My Content and Team Content. Only developers use the My Content or advanced users, so we're going to focus on the Team Content link. So the first time you go in, you'll need to click on that Team Content link. And as long as you don't click on the My Content link again, it will stay here. It does remember where you are from the last time you were in when you're in the program. So here you can see we have a bunch of folders. These folders are in alphabetical order, and they're mainly broken down by packages. You can see there's an admissions package here. We have a student records package here. I'm going to pause a moment and tell you that if you see something in Cognos, you have access to it. If you don't have access to something in Cognos, you won't see it displayed on your screen. So don't worry about going into something that you don't have permission to. If you can see it, you can use it and run it. So let's go ahead and click on the student records folder. Oh, and note that these are in alphabetical order too here. And we can change the sorting, we can do some filtering and some other options. They're all pretty self-explanatory. You just hover over the icon and it pretty much tells you, you can click on that icon for further information. So I'm going to go into the student records folder. And I have these various choices here. This is where I go to look at dashboards. We have some special security on these folders, so that's why they're separated here. We also have packages and reports. These are the most common ones to find in a student records a package is dashboards, packages, and reports. Now, packages is something that you'll never need to go into, but you need access to them in order to run a report because it has all the structure of the data that you're seeing in your report. Now, if I click on reports here, in some cases, you'll see folders and the reports. So Cognos always lists folders first, and then reports or other items. Note that the folders are in alphabetical order and the reports are in alphabetical order so that it makes it easy for you to find them. So you can see there's breadcrumbs here as we keep clicking on items. So for example, if I was to click on graduation, that would also show up here. But if I wanted to go back to reports, I can just click here, or if I wanted to go all the way to student records or all the way back to team content, I can just click on that. So let's click back onto reports. Okay, so next thing, let's go ahead and run a report. We're going to want to run this report to the web browser. So I don't have to use a run as option. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the Dean's List. Here in the Dean's List, you can see it opens up to what we call a prompt page. This allows the user to filter their options so they can get just the records that they need on their report. There are little icons here that are explained up here that help guide you in terms of what you can do for that prompt. Now, this asterisk here tells us that it is a required field. So if I don't enter anything here or make a selection, and I go down to next, you can see it's got a circle with a slash through it, which means it won't let me go to the next page. So I'm going to go ahead up here and I'm going to go select a term description. And then I'm going to go down to next and I still have the circle with the X. That's because this step also is required. So I'm going to go ahead and click plan. And you can see now I can click the next button. Okay, so now I'm getting a whole bunch of plans on display here and I have to choose one. And you can see there's a lot to pick from. So there are other prompts like this that could have even more options in here. So one way we recommend to select the items that you want to filter on instead of doing a lot of scrolling is use the functionality of Google Chrome by clicking Control F. And up at the top here, you can see a box pops up here that allows us to enter in some text. So I'm going to go ahead and put history for history, and I'm going to click both these options here, and then I'm going to choose the finish button. Now it's going to display that report for me. And you can see up at the top, it's showing that it's displaying that report. And I can go to the content page from here or back to my schedules and subscription. Let's just go to the content page. So you can see it takes us back to this content page. And I can also click here to go to the recent page. And you can see now the Dean's List is at the top because it's the most recent report that I have run. Let's go ahead and run another report. I'm going to go to the Content Manager. I can do it here, or I can choose it here. Now, let's choose another report from Student Records and Reports, and we're going to choose Plan Roster Active. I'm going to click Undergraduate. That's my option here. I'm going to choose Plan here, and I'm going to click the next button. There we go. Note that this is not a required option. So I can choose not to select any options, which means it will give me all plans, or I can choose multiple options here. And here allows me to do select all or deselect all. But you should never use select all if you truly want everything. By not selecting it, it will be selected because it won't be a filter. So let's go ahead and select a couple of items here and go ahead and press finish. You may notice that these reports may take a minute or two to run in Cognos. That's because it's going through millions of records at a time. And also, there may be many different fields for each one of those records, and it does take time to process. Okay, so here's another report. the plan roster active report, and I'm going to scroll here, and you can see I can switch back and forth between the dean's list and the plan roster active report. You may note here that the FERPA restricted indicator is in the far left column. On reports where it's appropriate for the FERPA restricted indicator to be listed, we like to put it in the leftmost column so that users can easily identify it. On this report, you can see that all of the options that I selected are displayed here in the text. So you have an easy idea, an easy way to see what you selected in case you don't remember. And if I click this Reggie Redbird head here, this should look familiar to you if you've been in the records and dashboards report on the website, the ILS2 website for data. You can see that these are all the fields that are on the report and a description of each of those fields. So most of our reports have the Reggie Redbird head and they're working, but we are a bit behind. So there is an occasion where you may not get what you're looking for when you click on the Reggie Redbird head. Okay, so here you can see all the data listed, and we can scroll over to see all of it here. I want to point out something that you may not have noticed, but here on the Dean's list, I can scroll all the way to the bottom. And notice here on the left-hand side, there is nothing here, and I see many, many records here. But if I click on the Plan Roster Active report, I only see 20 records, but down here I see top, page, up, page down, and bottom. I can click this page number, or I'm sorry, this page down to go to the next page and go through the report. So some reports have pagination and some do not. So if a report looks incomplete to you, you may want to look down here on the left-hand side to see if there's pages on that report, which is why you're not seeing all the data. You may have to click these up and down arrows to get the information you are looking for. Once you're in the report, now you're in HTML view here, you can see there's an option here to choose one of our other formats. There's also the option here to run the report again. If I click on it. And it will give me the choice to go ahead and select different options, but it saves the ones I had. So if I was to go back in again, I would have to unclick the ones I had selected and select something new. Let's do accountancy. And then run it again. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is that we do have some functionality to make some changes to the report while in the web browser. Most of the time, I would recommend you making those changes, such as filtering or sorting, using Excel because it works faster. But I want to go ahead and show you an example. So let's say we want to sort by first name. We can click on first name, and you can see up here we have this toolbar with these icons. Not every report in Cognos has this functionality. So if you click on the first name and you don't see these items show up, that report does not have that functionality. So after I click on first name, I can click on the sort button and choose ascending, and it will sort the records by first name. I want you to note that when you use one of these functionalities up here, it will rerun the report from the beginning. It's not going to do a quick sort like you would see in Excel. So keep that in mind, and that's why I don't recommend using this functionality up here. If you accidentally click the edit button, don't worry about it, just unclick it, and if it asks you to save, close without saving, go ahead and choose that option. So you can see here, it now has alphabetized all of the first names on this report. From this web page, we can go ahead and click this icon. This icon is not available to you unless you have a page that's being displayed or a report that's being displayed. If I click it and I get the subscribe button, we'll show you more about that later.